Good morning and welcome to the 29th season. Winter testing starts today, race driving starts today after 4 long months of cold and nothingness. We are down in Lisbon, in Portugal, at the Estoril Circuit to kick off the year. Let's go get to the track. Good morning and welcome to Estoril Circuit in Portugal. So it's a lot warmer than the last time I was here a couple of years back. It was the very end of the year that we were here for the Masters race meeting. It was bloody freezing in the morning, but then beautiful during the day. It's currently February at the moment. We're having an absolute mini heat wave in the UK at the moment, and that has transpired down to the south of Europe as well. It's estimated to be sort of between 20 and 25 degrees today. And I think it's about 14 at the moment, relative blue sky. We're here at Estoril with a couple of historic race teams shaking cars down for the beginning of the year, which means there are a total of 7 cars signed on for the next 2 days, which is absolutely awesome. I am so excited to get back in a car. It's been so long. I've done a couple of track days at the beginning of this year already, one with my rented Lotus Elise and a couple with some other clients in their own cars. However, nothing quite beats race cars and race car testing. So yeah, we're going to get some proper mileage in over the next couple of days. The Lola Mk1 Spider, Lola T70 Mk1 Spider, sorry, has had a lot of fettling done with it since the last time it was driven. So we've got a lot of setting up to do with that. And then we've got a Caterham 420R, which I'll be doing some driver training in. We think that's a very good driver training car because it's high power, low grip, very easy to control. Perfect way to get back into circuit driving and historic circuit driving. So yeah, that's the plan for the next couple of days. So I hope to take you on board with that over the next couple of days. So yeah, looking forward to it. Got my suntan ready, got my race kit ready. Let's go hit the circuit. And so here we are getting on circuit for the first laps of the 2-day test here at Estoril Circuit. So having 2 cars to play with, the Caterham, our training car, and the Lola, our race car, we first explored out onto the circuit in the Caterham. My job as a professional driver is not just to be fast in the car. I spend majority of my time coaching individuals, track days, race days, etc. As part of my profession, where I earn my money in between the limited amount of race weekends that I do in a year. So I have to pass on as much knowledge as I can to Graham, my co-driver, of which he can then drive better, and then we together can get better results. So it's in my interest to pass as much information over to Graham as I can. So starting the program off, we have 2 open pit lane days, so we've got loads of track time to use, which is absolutely brilliant. We always start our test sessions with me driving Graham round. So in this instance, I'm refreshing myself as to which way the circuit goes and all the little tricks and tips of the track. It's been 2 years since I've driven here and 2 years since Graham's driven here. Graham is a full-time businessman, so he is not driving all the time. This is his first time on circuit since October in 2018, whereas I've already done quite a few track days in the 2019 season. So this is really to get him back into the swing of track driving. So things like racing lines, vision, picking your vision up, which you generally tend to not look as far ahead on the road as you do in circuit driving. Braking techniques are really attacking the brake pedal initially, and generally get him into the swing of racing and driving on circuit again. So this first session with Graham in the passenger seat allows him to take in as much information as he can, of which I'm feeding to him. So we're connected by intercom system, so he can hear me real time and I can hear him real time, so he can ask any questions and I'm talking him around the circuit. Braking points, gears, general techniques, reference points that I'm using, which he can then start to use once he gets out on circuit. And with Graham in the passenger seat, he doesn't have to concentrate on driving, he can purely just listen and refer to everything that's being passed on to him. It also gives me a chance to try out the car, try out the circuit, explore the limits, so that when I'm in the passenger seat I can correctly advise Graham on what he needs to do, where he needs to go, etc, etc. And this is not just something I do with Graham, this is something I do with all of my clients when it comes to driver coaching. So once we've done our reference laps, I come back to the pit lane and then I will drop Graham off. When I drop Graham off, I then go out by myself, and this is an opportunity to set a reference lap time. So within the 4 or 5 laps I've done with Graham and then the 2 hot laps I'm going to do, this gives us a reference that we can use for our VBOX data to coach from for the rest of the day. So that's me doing 2 reference laps and then something for Graham to chase throughout the day. After that, we then both jump out together with Graham driving and me in the passenger seat. This time I'm providing feedback, real-time feedback to Graham as he drives about reference points and driving technique to obviously try and get the most out of his driving in the relatively limited 2-day test that we have before going into round 1 of the year. So that's when we want to be absolutely sharpest and hitting the ground running for round 1. However, this job does have its dangers. You are in the passenger seat of a racing car where you're trying to push the limits of the car and driver to its limits, where you can sometimes overstep that marker. In this instance, we picked a good place to have a moment with very minimal impact, apart from a slightly bruised ego, before learning from our mistakes and then coming back bigger, better and stronger for next time out. So after a productive few sessions in the Caterham, we then came to the main focus of the test, the Lola T70 Mk1 Spider. Quite the contrast to the Caterham, however a lot of the techniques do apply in the Caterham to the Lola, so that's the idea of having in-car feedback so that Graham can then take what we've learned in the Caterham into the Lola. Just like in the Caterham, we've got a VBOX in the Lola where I'm setting a reference lap time for Graham to chase. So jump on board this 550 brake horsepower V8 beast. Everything that Graham has learned in the Caterham with me, and then also looking at the VBOX data, we then can send him out in the Lola by himself to really get used to the car, get used to the circuit, and maximise his track time before it then comes to the first race weekend of the year. So I hope these onboards and voiceovers have given you an indication as to what goes into testing and what goes into being a professional racing driver working with a gentleman driver. And the beautiful sunset behind me brings to an end day one here at Estoril. It has been awesome. Gillian Carr has organised an awesome event. Barely 7 cars out on circuit. I think we passed about 1 or 2 cars literally all day, so it's been fantastic. We've had a mega day in the Caterham, getting Graham back into the swing of things after not driving on circuit for almost a year now. He's jumped back in the Lola as well. He's getting comfortable with that as well. 1 session towards the end of the day. Had a few teething problems with that as it's the first shakedown after a big major rebuild. So yeah, prepping the cars ready for tomorrow. Weather looks good again tomorrow, so yeah, buzzing for it. So back to the hotel in a second, dinner, and then yeah, we'll catch up in the morning. Ciao, ciao.